Okay, thanks very much. Good afternoon, everybody. Great to see you. Hope everybody had a nice Easter holiday weekend and starting to enjoy this nice weather, even though I believe it's supposed to rain, isn't it? Oh, gosh.
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and get started. If we could, I'd like to call to order the April 28th, 2025 meeting of the Sangamon Mass Transit District to order. May I have a roll call, please, Stephanie?
Yes, Chairperson Brewer.
Here.
Trustee Doss.
Here.
Trustee Nacera. Trustee McCarthy. Here. Trustee Dabsco. Here. Trustee Douglas. Here. Trustee Stratton.
Here. All right, thanks very much. Let's jump right into it. First item is the approval of the minutes from our regular meeting of March 24th of this year. Trustees should have had those in your packets and had ample time to review them. I guess I'll ask for any commentary, any changes needed. If there isn't anything, I'll look for a motion.
I move to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of March 24th, 2025.
Second.
Okay, we have a first and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Is there anybody opposed? Very good. We have approval for those meeting minutes. Thank you. Let's jump into some of our director's communications. First up, our managing director, Steve. Any comments today?
Just a couple things. We are still waiting to hear back from the state on ribbon cutting for the transfer center. So as soon as I hear something back on a date, I will let everyone know. They're trying to coordinate with IDOT and the governor's office. So most of the funds for that were state funds. So they're the ones that are most interested in this particular event. I wanted to let you all know that we're working on some mental health awareness training here. I've met with someone that's a professional here in town that's working on a curriculum for us. For one, our leadership team to get some training on resources available, and then also for frontline training for our bus operators, customer service, dispatchers, everyone that is public facing. So we're hoping that that comes together here in the next few weeks, and we can get some people trained here maybe early this summer with, we always do de-escalation training, but specifically gearing it towards mental health and substance abuse, things like that, I think is going to be super helpful for them. And we've actually got interest from the drivers themselves requesting this kind of training. So hopefully that will be happening soon. And then finally, just a reminder, if you haven't already done your statements of economic interest, those are due May 1st, I believe. So make sure you get those in. As members of the board, you're required to do that. So that's all I have.
Okay. As customary, you do a nice job with the write-up prior to, but does anybody have any follow-up for Steve? Any comments? If not, thanks as always. We appreciate that. Let's go ahead. Michelle, Director of Finance Administration. Any updates there?
I have a few things to note. We have our term review on May 13th and 14th, so that's coming up quickly. We are progressing nicely through the process. We have submitted additional backup requests for all three of us, procurement, echo, and maintenance files right now. So we've given those to the consultants. And we should have our agenda tomorrow for that 2-day on-site process. I submitted the annual TAM plan, and TAM stands for Transit Asset Management. Part of that process, we are a sub-recipient in that capacity, so we're part of a group TAM plan. And so to do the TAM, we complete an annual capital needs assessment, so that's all been done and turned in. A handful of finance employees completed some payroll training. We currently have Avail as our ERP system, and we did some new training as well as some refresher from some of the payroll employees. We had a walkthrough with Gallagher, who's our commercial insurance agent, and Travelers Insurance. We do those periodically. We had a few recommendations, and we have followed up on those recommendations. This is a little bit of Melissa's news, but we received 8 new paratransit vehicles last week. That's through the state CVP program. Those are paratransit vans, and we were happy to receive them. It's been 2 years in the meeting to get those, so it's exciting. Always exciting when we get new vehicles on site. We're getting the 4 road supervisor vans next soon. Yeah, soon. I don't know if you remember, AECOM is the vendor that we have for the comprehensive operational analysis. They were supposed to have presented their results to us March or April. They have some staffing changeovers, so they're scheduled to present next month, so that is coming. And those are my updates.
Okay, very good. Lots going on. Any of the trustees follow up? Any questions? Anybody? Any remarks? remarks? No? If not, thanks as always, Michelle, and we'll go ahead to operations. Melissa?
Well, it's definitely not been quiet, but Mark is plugging away. They kind of covered the majority of it, so. Not
It's the
much for
shortest
me.
one ever.
I know, short and sweet.
You can't fool us. I know there's a lot going on in operations. But we'll just leave it at that then for
Yeah.
today, okay?
Thank you.
All right.
I will point out one thing that Michelle won't say, but in our regular submittal of documentation for the triennial review, they ask for a lot of different things. One of the things they look at closely is our echo draws, our drawdown of federal funds from grants. And she got complimented on a form that she created a few years ago that we've been using ever since that contains multiple sign-offs and a lot of detail for all those grants. And he actually called it best practices. So it's something that they may actually use in other places. So that's a big kudos to her for coming up with that and using that process.
Well done. If we could just copyright it, right? Always willing to share best practices, so well done. Okay, let's go ahead and jump into some reports if we could. First item up there is the approval of the February 2025 financial statements and cash disbursements. Again, those should have been included in your trustees' packets and had time to review them. But as always, I will ask for any modifications, questions, remarks regarding those. And if there isn't any, I'll look for a motion.
I make a motion to approve February 2025 financial statements and cash disbursements. Second.
Okay, first and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed here? Very good, thanks for the approval. Board committee reports, I know we have a flurry of activity with the committees coming up, so I'm not quite sure, but we'll still run through. Anything from the finance committee today?
No.
Okay, thank you very much. Anything from operations?
No.
Okay, very good. Anything from the administration committee?
Not at this time.
Okay. And IT steering, I know we've been working on that. But okay. So calm before the storm, right, trustees? Everybody's resting up from all the activity forthcoming, so well, thank you in advance. Let's move over to the Planning Commission report. Jason's here today. Jason?
All right, just a few updates on things we're doing. We have the LRTP draft ready for approval, or I should say recommendation for review with our technical committee. That means it'll go out for public review next week for a 30-day period. Our public participation plan, the draft is out, and it's out for a 45-day review by the public. A copy will be here at SMTD. We'll also have them online at the Urban League and at the library. Parking survey is starting in earnest. We're printing out maps and getting everybody out to go count parking spaces this month. The active transportation plan, on May 8th, CMT will be hosting an open house for the draft active transportation plan. What they're going to do, we're going to take over a section of Monroe Street where it's stubbed off, between the State Journal Register building and the county building, and we'll be setting up exhibits for, so people can see the bike network and the pedestrian network that our consultants are proposing, as well as maybe like a couple of demonstrations of different types of bicycle and pedestrian facilities and things like that. So
Interesting.
it should be pretty interesting. Yeah, that's May 8th, 4 to 6.
Okay.
Also, just as Steve asked, we have moved into our new offices. Just want to let him know that we used to be room 212 in the county building. We are now room 252. So 252 being you want to send us an email. The numbers changed.
All right. Do we have air conditioning, though?
We do have proper HVAC. Yes.
Okay, very good. Moving in the right direction. Well done as always, Jason. Any follow-up for Jason? A lot of things going on there. Curb the car, bike week coming up too?
Yeah, yes it is.
It seems like we just did that, so.
I know, it's part of everything they.
That's great stuff. Okay, then. Well, as always, we appreciate the partnership and all your efforts. And I didn't see David. Was there anything from the advisory committee ADA?
They did not meet. They'll meet next month.
Okay, all right then. I'll take care of the reports. Let's jump into some new business if we could, folks. First item up is the renewal of software agreement with GenFair. Hadley, are you going to address that for us?
Yeah.
Okay.
So GenFair is the electronic fare collection system that we have, and this is the software that's required to run it. It gives us reports on the back end, as well as allowing us to collect several different types of fares, card, cash, the TVMs, all kinds of good stuff. We were able to lock in the next 3 years at a 3% annual increase, instead of crossing our fingers and hoping for a good increase. We got 3% locked in there, which is exactly what we've had the first 3 years of the contract with them.
Kind of surprising, with inflation and everything else.
That's probably like, oh, yes, sure, we will. Yes. Yeah, any questions?
It is not an insignificant amount. They still do okay.
I'm not saying they're cheap.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I think we've been good customers anyway, so. Any follow-up for Hadley on this one? I think obviously we've been familiar with the platform and our service there, but if there isn't anything else, I'll look for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the renewal of the fare software agreement.
Second.
Okay, we have a first and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed here?
Nope.
Very good. Your renewal to move forward. Thank you. Next item up under new business is our FY26 corporate operating and capital budget. Michelle, will you take that one for us?
Yes. I'm presenting in lieu of Tim this evening. He was not able to make it to the board meeting tonight, but he has done the majority of the legwork on all of this, and I'm presenting tonight. In the package, you've got the budget ordinance, and then he's got a few pie charts and different things that give you a quick snapshot of some of the increases between the last 2 years, as well as what's projected for fiscal year 26 as in each area. And then I'd like to note that overall, it's only a 5.49% increase between the fiscal year 26 operating budget and the fiscal year 25 operating budget, which is great. He will follow the prescribed benchmarks, so he's got that. He'll publish it on May 1st, and he'll have a public meeting on June 2nd here at the SMTD office at 4:30, if anybody would like to come to that meeting. I'd be happy to answer any questions that I can this evening. He knows it much better than I know it, so,
Before our next meeting, we'll have the budget committee meet.
Yes.
And the admin committee as well to go over the budget and go into detail on anything you might find between now and then. You've got the documents now, so feel free to look those over and let us know if you've got any questions.
Okay. Anything additional here? I know we're used to the process, but a lot of work that goes into it, so that's all our appreciation to Tim. If there's no further discussion, I'll look for a motion.
I make a motion to place those fiscal year 2026 corporate budget on file for public inspection.
Second.
Okay, first and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Very good. Approval to move forward with that. Next item is the 26 through 29 Transportation Improvement Program.
yes, so this is an annual documentation that we prepare. It's a 4-year plan, so it covers 26 through 29, and it lists all of the projects that we have planned, including some that, if funding is available, we would apply for. So there's a few things in the mix on the tip that, if a competitive grant would become available, we have the opportunity then to apply for those funds because it is a tip project. So there's a few things that what normally dictates the TIP is our 5-year plan. And then the TIP also meets the requirements that we have from the federal government to publish our program of projects. And the TIP is published through SATS and the regional planning organization that we have through Saginaw County. And that process allows for public comment, so that meets that requirement. The TIP first year is always pretty heavily loaded with projects just because they keep staying on. So, but it includes both capital projects as well as a line item for operating. estimates, and yeah. We have, we do both approaches. We have specific projects, and then we have kind of some placeholders. Like you'll see like 25% of camera equipment upgrades, just because we know that there's regular IT updates required. So we have those approaches on the tip. We also include when a project would use TDCs, that's also indicated on the tip.
Okay. Any follow-up there? Jason, have any comments?
No, that's why I didn't say anything about us working on the tip.
You guys got together beforehand, didn't you?
No, she's always the first one to get on the project. So
Well, they make it easy because they send me a template, so it's nice that they.
yeah. So these are, as she said, though, these are the projects that have a funding source and are identified as, things that are doable. The ones she said that are, that they would apply for funding if it became available, or what are called illustrative, and those are kind of like the nice to haves, or if we got the money, we would slot it into the tip at a later time. So, but it gets it onto the plan or onto the program, so that way, when you're applying for funds, you can say that we have been anticipating this for a while.
Yep. Very good. Anything from the trustees? Any questions here? Anything? Okay. If not, I'll look for a motion.
I make a motion to approve the SMTD Transportation Improvement Program for FY 2026 through FY 2029.
Okay, first and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed to this? Very good, we have approval to move forward. Thank you very much. And the last item under new business is in regards to the placement of a historical marker at the transfer station. Steve, are you taking that one?
Yes. We have a guest with us tonight to better explain the details of this. I tried to lay it out a little bit in a memo for you, but the executive director of the Illinois State Historical Society, William Fury, is with us, and he's going to go into some detail. You had a sample of what the marker is going to look like, and it should be on your tablets as well. So.
Thank you so very much for letting me come to address this body. I used to ride the bus all the time when I was going to college and lived in Springfield. So back in the days when Sangamon State was there, and I had to take a shuttle. You didn't go all the way to the university back then. I'm bringing you copies of our magazine, which I've been the editor of this magazine for 24 years now. On some of these covers, there's a copy of a marker that we did recently up in a little town called Neponset. This is a larger one that was done in Bloomington.
Thanks, Bill.
We do have that one. Thank you. So we've done markers since 1934 around the state, so every time you see a historical marker, we're probably the ones who put it up. We used to be part of the state of Illinois, but we're not part of the state of Illinois now. We're not-for-profit. So we've been a not-for-profit since 1997, and we still do all the markers in the state. This one is a special one because Years ago, the markers were top down. They all came down from a state historian who said, this is what's important, this is what's not important. So there were no markers to women, there were no markers to Native Americans, there were no markers to African Americans. None. This didn't happen. We've taken the initiative to correct that. So we have a marker here that's to not only a labor person, but to an African American who was from Springfield. His name is Henry Stevens. He lived in Springfield. He's buried at Oak Ridge Cemetery, and he was an activist. And Steve, did you have a copy of the actual text?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you all read that text?
Yeah.
So let me ask you if you have any questions for me. That's probably a faster way, a more efficient way for me to do this.
I didn't have any questions.
You said the corridor, the rail corridor there is an area that he walked. Where was he walking to and from?
He lived in the levee, up and down the street here, over 9th Street to 11th Street, all the way up to Carpenter, back down. But in that area he worked, but he also worked in the mines in the north end, the south end here. That's where he was. He's buried in Oak Ridge Cemetery, but Oak Ridge Cemetery has a covenant that if you don't have any survivors, you can't be buried in Oak Ridge Cemetery. So unless you have somebody who'll sign off on it and say, we want to put a marker, that's what I was going with that. You can't put a marker at somebody's grave if there are no relatives to approve it. So that's why we started originally going to put it out there, but then we thought, well, this was the corridor. This is where he was. And and the levee was traditionally where African Americans were hanging out. They lived, had their families, their lives were there. So this marker is in that particular spot. It's a high traffic area, and that's one of the things we look for in our markers, make sure people get to see them and what they represent. This is the first marker to an African American minor that I know of in the state. And if you look at the people who are sponsoring it, the William G. Pomeroy Foundation, I reached out to in New York and Syracuse, they were very interested in this one. The Mother Jones Heritage Project, the Mother Jones Foundation, the Springfield and Central Illinois Trades and Labor Council, the Springfield and Central Illinois African American History Museum, and the Society. We all pooled resources, found the money for it, because these things cost $5,000 to install. And so that's not on you folks at all, and we're in charge of maintaining it if there's a problem with the painting on it. So there was originally talk of putting it into the new section of the transportation corridor where all the memorials were going to be. But that was deemed, it's too far away. You guys are still 2 years away from that project. And we've got the marker here and now. So we thought, we'll put it there. And if after 2 years, when you get the new one done, maybe you'll move it there. It's not a big deal to move it, but here seems like a good place to put it. And it's up to you. You think it's going to be attractive there, or it's going to impact the transportation corridor in any way, let me know. But I'm here to represent all these groups here to get your permission. We're ready to go. The marker's here in town, the pole's in town. We just need permission to put it in.
Okay.
Thank you.
And how large is it?
On the cover of the magazine.
Just like this, right? It's just
Yeah, just like that one.
Okay.
That big.
What are the questions we have or comments? I just want to comment on the other groups that were helping sponsor and coordinate it.
It's a good group.
Great representation.
And they're excited. They're excited about doing it. So we just have to find the right date to do the dedication. And Steve's told me that we can park at the end of the lot on a Saturday to do a dedication down there. And there'll be a lot of people who will come for this one.
Any trustees have any comments or questions?
When did you say the dedication was?
We have postponed it. We don't have a date yet until you tell me that it's viable and you want to do it. And then we can do it anytime. We've got already Julie's taking care of the site for it, for the pole to go on the ground. Takes about 24 hours, 48 hours for the pole to set up in the concrete, and then the marker just slides on top of it and locks down. That's a pretty simple operation to get it done. Takes about 20 minutes to get the marker installed.
The impact is lasting.
The impact could be lasting. In one of the magazines I gave you, we did a marker to, John L. Lewis, in a little town called Panama, down in Montgomery County, around the edge of Montgomery and Bond County. And that's where John L. Lewis got his start in the mine and working in the mines, in that little town. So they remember him quite well, and they have a marker from him now, and they even named a park after him. So those are some of the things that we'd like to put word out about that we're trying to do differently than has been done in the past. So the Native American markers, we're going to hold a bunch of those coming up. We have a lot of women markers coming up in the next couple months. So, but this is one for labor that we thought would be appropriate for Springfield.
Great idea.
Yes, thank you.
Definitely a point of interest over there on the site, too. Draw some,
I think so.
absolutely, keep it interesting.
And if there's a problem with it being damaged or something, we'll take it back to the foundry and have it redone. We haven't had any desecration of these markers. Nobody spray painted or anything like that, so they've all been pretty good. But you never know. But we'll take care of it.
Okay. Any further discussion here?
I think that's the wonderful idea.
Thank you. I'll share it with Rosemary.
Yes.
Well, if there's no further discussion, I'll look for a motion here.
I make a motion to accept staff's recommendation to approve the placement of Henry Stevens, Illinois State Historical Society marker at an agreed upon location at the SMTD Transfer Center as presented by the manager and director of the AV.
Second.
Okay, we have a first and second. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed here? Very good. We have approval to move forward, and we'll look forward to our future communication.
Oh, thank you so very much.
Logistics.
Nice to meet you. You're
Nice
very
meeting you.
efficient.
Thanks very much, Bill.
Thank you.
Okay. And I think that will conclude our items under new business. We'll go ahead and we'll move into some public comments, unless there's anything additional in new business. But we'll open up for public comments. Mr. Walker, nice to see you today, and I believe you presented the forum for some public comments. So the floor is yours.
I was concerned about what's going to be the future with a lot of the funding with the feds and now the state, and how this is going to affect the agency. You know, with all the turmoil going on with the federal right now, where a lot of grants are being pulled and everything that's already been promised, and I'm really concerned how this is going to affect public transportation in Springville. And the state seems like they're going to be having some issues too, and I'm hoping we know what's happened in 2015 where routes got pulled and everything else, and we made great strides. So I was concerned about that. I was going to take the bus the other day, but I ended up not taking it because it's one of the older buses, and I was curious if, when they're going to retire some of those 1300s, the smaller number ones, they're a small bus, and with my health, I just couldn't ride it. I ended up having to call somebody to pick me up because he sits sideways on that whole bus, and I saw which one was coming, and I was like, nope. Can't do it. But that's only one. All your other buses are great. It's just those, I think there's 5 of them, 1300s.
Melissa, you want to address any of that? Or obviously our
I
rotation
know there's a
continues.
plan to be replaced eventually.
That, once they reach a certain number of years and miles, they can be replaced, so we just gotta run them until they say we can replace it. They are in the next group, I believe.
Because it was both of them were on that route. I was like, well, I could wait until the next half hour if it was going to be another one, but it was the same. And so I was like,
Yep, they're scheduled to be replaced in the next purchase, I believe, which will be awarded here probably soon, and then they won't be built for probably a year to 18 months.
I was just curious. But that kind of gave me pause. I was going to take it. I had everything ready to go with the fare and all that. I was like, no, can't do it.
They're in the process.
The other thing is, there's a couple proposals I'd like to submit. I don't have them now, but a couple to improve a couple routes that to kind of get rid of all the deviations and that, where combining 2 routes, part of the Lake and Grandview, take the Grandview part off, and then out South 15th, that's on the number 9, combine those and have the middle part be it's almost similar to the old 15 minutes, but it would just be, it'd still be half hour, but the transfer center would be the middle. And so that would kind of help that a little bit. That way you don't have this big loop on that northeast end of town in the part of the south end. I think it would kind of improve the number 9 and the number 3. I was going to do that, but I just didn't get time to do it.
Well, the team's taking copious notes.
I see.
Yeah.
But I've been happy to see at night. There's a lot of people riding the new Southwest route at night, and kind of happy to see that. And that's good to see. The other thing is about the marker. They might want to look into, because see, my grandparents lived right where the transfer center is in the 1940s, and we have pictures of the businesses in the background, and they supposedly the ones that were listed in the Green Book. And there's historical significance of all those businesses right there on the other side of the street. So I've been surprised no one has done anything with that. Because those went from Adams Street up to the 1 block north on the east side of the street on 11th. So, but there's some historical significance to that. As I said, my mother grew up there in the 1940s, and there was a business, Kenny Laundry was on the other side that was there, and then they moved to 11th and Capitol. So,
Might be coming to you for pictures.
actually, I have them.
Always prepared, Ron. I like it.
I'm gonna look that up in the green book.
But I was doing some research, and I started looking at that, and I was thinking that some of these businesses were historical significance on the east side of the street.
Yeah. Good commentary, as always. Appreciate your participation and showing up, and we'll take all that into consideration. Is there anybody else that wanted to make any comments regarding his remarks? Or
I'm gonna look that up because I'm on a committee about the green book. So I'm gonna take a look.
Okay.
I'll show you the pictures after.
Okay.
Very good. Any additional public comments at this time? Tyler, is there anything from the internet? Okay. Trustees, anything additional? Any comments we missed? Okay. Well, as always, very efficient, taking care of business as usual. We appreciate the team's efforts, and with that, I will look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? Anybody opposed? All right, very good. Our April meeting is adjourned. Thanks very much, folks, and we'll see you next time.
All right. She's saying about my money.
Hadley.
You know about my, I have like different, I have 85.